Stay connected with Fiat Ministry Network. Like us on Facebook. Stay updated at fiatministrynetwork.tv/feed. Follow us on Twitter at Fiat Ministry Net. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Fiat Ministry Network. Fiat Ministry Network, encouraging all to say yes. Everybody, it's Catholic Sis. Welcome to Talkin Faith with Catholic Sis. I'm your host, Ellen Nicholson, and tonight I'm talking about the 3 ways you can find God in your life as a teenager, why I think confession isn't a scary waste of time, as well as a few more pictures from what I was up to last week and some really neat Q&As that you just aren't going to want to miss. So stay right there, and I'd like to bring up my co-host and producer, the one and only Kent. There
Hello.
he is.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, we're doing great. It's just been a great evening. Everybody, welcome in the chat room. And if you have any questions, please, leave the comments, and we will get to them. And call the Skype if you want. If you want to call Skype, I will pay attention.
So it was sunny here yesterday. Then it kind of I don't know what happened. It was almost about to snow. It was that bad.
Oh, really? Yeah, we got snow.
It looked like it. I was at work this morning. I looked at the window. I'm like, it is going to snow. It was sunny yesterday. I was mowing the lawn. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we've had snow the last 2 days. I mean, it didn't stick or anything, but we had some.
So, yeah, we get a lot of that here. We had some of that over the winter. Our full 14 snowflakes, none of them stuck. So that was kind of like, well, what was the point of that? That's not even worth calling snow.
Yeah.
It didn't even stick.
Yeah. I don't know. It gets old after a while up here, and it's just, what are you going to do? But
it is May. It should be winding up pretty soon.
You would think. And, but anyways, so
we've got a jam-packed show.
Yeah,
tonight,
you do.
Which includes, tonight we're talking about three ways to connect with God. Right? Because if I had a nickel for every time somebody said, "Catholic Sis, I can't find God. Catholic Sis, I can't get closer." How do I find God? It's this mystical being in the sky, right? It's hard to do this. So before I go in and tell you the 3 I like, so are there any that you can think of off the top of your head of ways to connect, get closer to God?
Well, I mean, just thinking about it and looking at, just talking prior to the show and all that, I think one thing for me was having the, background of friends that were not even Catholic, but knew their faith. All our Protestant brothers and sisters bring their Bibles to their services. I mean, they know it, and so
they make us look bad sometimes.
Well, I call it, and I've mentioned this through the ministry and the network. I called it. We were going to a comedy show. It was like it was like whose line is always kind of that and every other word was a curse word throughout the whole evening. But then we came to Perkins, and I call it kind of the Last Supper at Perkins for me, because it's just the big table and all that, and everybody knew their scripture. I mean, there's something that they loved, and I think that was kind of the start that I came back to the faith, and then I think retreats, testimonies for me are huge to understand where people are coming from in their faith journey. So I think retreats and and testimonies, just talking to people, kind of bring me to a understanding of Christ, and kind of that's my 2 cents on.
I like that. I like that. I did not think of. I did not. Those are not any of the ways I was thinking. So this.
No.
Great.
Well,
that's why we call you the one and only, right? You come up with all
I guess. Yeah.
The fantastic ideas that I didn't come up with yet. So, the first one, well, it's kind of close to what you said, sort of, kind of, but not really. But yeah. The first one I have is Holy Mass. Right? And everybody's like, oh, it's so common. We knew you were going to say, of course you were going to say Holy Mass. How is that relevant? Make that relevant for us. Well, as we've talked about, if you remember, we've talked about on the show before, Kent, when we think about what Mass really is, we can see that it's, there's no excuse for it to be boring, and it can be safely defined as one of the best ways to connect with the Lord.
Yes.
Right. And, it's what as I'm thinking, right, we know Mass is the source and summit of everything, of our life, of what we do. So we're safe saying it's one of the best ways.
Yeah. That's other than reading anything in the catechism, that's a safe statement right there.
Yeah. We're 100% safe on that one.
Yes.
Right. Cause, quick refresher, right? So what is Mass again? Well, Mass is the ultimate sacrifice, the celebration of Jesus giving his body and blood for us in order to give us the chance for eternal life, right? So if you think about it, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just, people are like, oh, it's Mass, we gotta go. There's a priest, he's gonna talk. Well, no. When you break it down into the logistics of what it is, it's great. How could you not see a connection between you and God? Right? And the Mass shows us it's a celebration of the Last Supper and of Good Friday, right? So it gives us a personal connection because we know on Good Friday Jesus died for me and for you, right? So it's a connection of, wow, I'm sitting in the pew. This is God's way of saying, it's like the ultimate I love you, right?
Yes.
When you think about that, so you think, okay, it's relevant to me because he did this for me, right? So then it's a really good connection. Like it's like when you're in Wi-Fi, right? You can go over here and there's like a bar and a half. And you go over here. Oh, I'm getting somewhere at 4 bars. Okay,
yes.
I am set now. I can text all I want. Right, walking around. When you go to the mall, right here, there's the malls that have Wi-Fi in the center court of the mall.
Yes.
Right, so you're walking around the mall. Oh no! Oh man, I just lost it. Oh, we're getting closer. Right, so right, you can think there's a ton of different ways to connect with God. Some of them are super strong. You got the 4-bar Wi-Fi signal going on.
Yeah. No. It's a great analogy. I like how you're. I mean, that everybody understands that nowadays.
Yeah. Everybody knows the trouble of trying to find Wi-Fi.
Yes. I've been there.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yes.
Where was I? I was trying to do it on a ferry, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, because our ferries have Wi-Fi. So, if we go from here to one of the little islands, right, I'm sitting there in the terminal. Oh, geez, no. On the boat. Yes, Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's...
I'm connected. So I'm connected to my Wi-Fi. I'm connected to God in Mass. I'm set. Just make sure that the phone is not on in Mass.
Right. No, that's a great point. Great point for everybody in the chat room.
I've done that. I haven't had it happen to me in Mass. I'm always when somebody's phone goes off in Mass, I instantly think, is it mine?
Well, yeah, and it's good that people do mention that something, I know that a lot of before Mass there's someone that mentions, turn off some kind of device or something like that, but the nice thing is, on a side note, there's a couple of parishes that basically you can introduce each other. There's right before Mass you can, and I don't know if that's, I kind of think it's okay to, because you're kind of just meeting everybody, but then I don't know how everybody, some people might think you're talking, but it's kind of a interesting dilemma of
do I talk before Mass? Do I be
well,
quiet
I mean,
and
it's just
prepare
an
for
introduction.
Mass?
Just shake your hand. It's kind of like peace with you before, but I don't know. It's happened. I've seen it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, those are fun. So I've never been the one whose phone's going off. It did go off one time in a church event. It was not Mass, luckily, but it was a church event.
Oh.
And it was interdenominational. I was going to my Catholic youth group was in with it was a Christian group. We were sharing the event, right?
Uh-huh.
And they're like, my phone goes off, and I'm quickly, scrambling, trying to shut it off. And they're like, that better be God calling. I'm like, well, now I feel terrific.
Yeah.
Oh, it was nasty. So, mental note: turn the phones off. Otherwise, the connection gets disturbed by the Pirates of the Caribbean ringtone going off beside you, and the iPhone little tweet ding dong thing. It's kind of hard to connect that way.
Yes.
So, what aside from the peace be with you early kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a piece. It's just shaking your hands, but I'm just saying. Anyways.
What do you think are some things that you can gain out of Mass? Right? What do you see as good gifts when you go to Mass?
You're receiving the Eucharist. I mean, I think it's a recharge. I mean, Mass is a way of recharging your system and recharging what you're doing through the rest of the week. You kind of get that that jolt, I guess. You get.
I like it's like Catholic Red Bull kind of thing.
Kind of,
or whatever. But not as much caffeine.
but it is a jolt. I mean, but the thing is, do you go there and put your head down and I was like that when I was a kid. I'll be as a youth, I was down, my head down, could care less.
And with your spirit,
just grumpy and like get me out of here. Or do you take it as how I am? Hopefully, especially and you're kind of, because a lot of the parishioners know what I'm doing, with the network. So you kind of have to show how you are, there and here. You can't just and if I'm, head down and grumpy looking, that doesn't look good. People are not gonna, other than your show, no one's gonna watch me. Yeah, but I mean, I think you have to figure out Mass is a spiritual, I guess, jolt, a spiritual way to understand that you're receiving the body and precious blood of Jesus Christ, and why are you not excited? You have to be excited that whole entire time, and I think people just want to go through the motions. Any age group, I think that's not, it's just a wide span. But how do we understand the Mass is a way of receiving the ultimate, the summit of our faith? We're there, and why don't we, bow down and say, okay, thank you, and how can I serve you this week, kind of.
Yeah, and well, I think sometimes it can kind of get lost in people get caught up in the ambiguity kind of it, right? People are like, well, it's the same thing every week. We've heard these readings, 100 times before, right? So, I when I was a few years ago, I was younger, right? And I thought, well, it's the same point, right? I've heard these readings. I remember them from the 3-year cycle 3 years ago.
Yeah.
6 years ago. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then our youth group went on a camping trip, and we actually had mass in our campsite in the forest on a banquet table. And I was like, oh, you can do this? And I thought, okay, so it's not it is different. It's the same readings, but it's the same God in the middle of, whether it's in the church, on the, camping trip. Like, we had people walking by the campsite, like, what are they doing? Or when I go on retreats, right? And we have it in our, conference hall, right? Where we're all there for the weekend. So I think it's good to realize that, it's the same across the whole board.
Yeah.
And that you can connect with God in any way, whether it's a forest, a cathedral, a little tiny chapel, right? So.
Well, that's a nice thing of being able to do that, because I know there's a, I guess the largest statue of Our Lady of Guadalupe down in about 20 minutes south of where I'm at, and they have at times the actual owners of the property. He's a deacon, and so he usually brings in a local priest, and they have mass, and even it's nice to be able, and it's reverent. It's very it's a very beautiful sight.
I think it can be refreshing too sometimes, right? To get that extra dimension and to see that mass is in so many different places.
No, that's a great point.
I think it's really good. So we've definitely nailed down that mass is the best way to connect with God.
Number 2,
which leads me into my second favorite one, and people are going to cringe, but I'm going to say it anyway. Confession. People are going to be like, no, is she talking about that? Yeah, it's one of the most difficult and uncomfortable topics I have to talk about in my ministry and stuff, but it's one of my favorite. Right? It makes people like, oh no, is it that talk? No. And I've kind of smacked people over the head with it. I just, because it was Lent, right? And I was like, took my sledgehammer to smack people over the head with it. And they're like, okay, it's Lent. Stop talking about it. But I think, there's mass, and then for me it's mass, then confession, right? Because the intimacy of the confessional is the only place where you can completely be yourself, right? Wherever you are in your life right now, there's no shows, there's people are going to judge me, right? It's just, this is what happened, this is who I am, here we go, right?
Yeah.
So, right, because people get sometimes caught up in the fact, I got caught up when I was a teenager. Youth usually get that way, because you go from I pulled my dog's tail and I ate a cookie before dinner
yes.
to now I don't want to tell you that.
Yes.
Right, I don't mind. Okay, first communion class. Okay, all 15 of us. Yeah, we probably, we shouldn't have pulled the dog's tail. And yeah, I threw a stick at Bob because he didn't want to give me his ball. I think we're done. Right?
Well, yeah, and yeah, you kind of grow out of that stage of, but yeah, I know exactly where you're going with that. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, then it's like, well, now I don't want to go.
Well, you think about what they usually, I know, usually anytime we're, someone's, a priest is getting ready to do confessions, they usually say, we've heard everything, in the sense of they've heard everything. You don't have to feel like, we've talked about this in the past shows. Take those steps.
Yeah, to get there. That's the thing, right? They studied this in seminary. There is nothing that you can come up with. And I remember I was talking to somebody one time, and we were us Catholic geeks, right? We were thinking, I wonder if we could think of something.
Yeah,
We were sitting in line for confession, and we're like, geez, it's taking a long time. I'm getting kind of scared. And we thought, I bet he's taking stuff that nobody's ever said before, and he's going to write a book. Well, and then we get taught, right? Yeah, that the priest, confession is the best way. We have mass, then the second best way is confession, because the priest is in persona Christi, taking the place of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not Father Jim or Father Michael or whatever. It's God under the veil of Father Michael, because otherwise you couldn't hear him. right? He's the voice box per se, so that you can hear it in an audible way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. So it's, it's God. He's not there to judge you and say, well, the next time I see you in Mass, I'm going to snub you. Right? Or I am not coming to your sacramental barbecue after Mass because,
Well, yeah. And I think you need to feel that way. I think that's a great way of feeling that, okay, whatever you're telling is going to be, between, in the sense, Jesus and yourself through the priest.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah, it's Jesus and you, and it's passing through the priest, right, to get there. Because right, because the priest can't tell anybody, and most of the time, right, I've heard this numerous occasions, priests have a prayer they pray before a confession so that they don't remember it, right? It's not, they're not sitting in church thinking, yeah, so I can't believe what that person said. Well, that was just, I'm going to write a book on that, and I'm going to send it to the Vatican because I've never heard this one before, and I wonder what else they were doing,
Well, and I think we've really, and that's great about, with a lot of the shows, confession keeps popping up. And I hopefully in the chat room that keeps popping up and thinking, because in your show and the other shows, I think confession is kind of it's a tough, topic.
It's a tough topic. It's really hard to bring up, right? I taught about it in my youth group one week. And I'm like, okay, kids, we're talking about confession tonight. And they all looked at me like, please tell me you are not serious. Are you going to make us go? Like, no, I'm not going to make you go. I can't make you do anything, but I'm going to try and encourage you to go. They're like, oh, we knew we couldn't get out of this.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully you see, they see their peers doing it, and that's the thing. It is kind of funny, like with the youth retreat that I was kind of running, to watch, the teenagers kind of go into their own, okay, they see their friend go, so then they'll go.
Oh, it's such a peer pressure thing. It really is. Like, I went on this retreat, and they're okay, confession starts, ring the bell, ding, ding, and nobody moves. Yeah. We're all like, are you going? I'm not going. Are you going? And then there's one kid that takes off like a shot, and we're like, phew, okay, somebody went. Okay, are you going? Well, I'll go if you go. Yeah. Well, are you going to move? Right? And it's just, and then, or you get, we went on a camping trip, we had confessions out in the field, actually, and we're sitting on, those folding lawn chairs. And the father's sitting in the dark, and we're like, are you going? No. Well, how about you? No. And we're all like, and then father comes out, is anybody going?
Well, and I think that's kind of the way of, making, because I know at the fest where in Ohio, there's this huge concert that I've mentioned in the past, but they have, priests out, kind of like what you were talking about, out in the yard, in the lawn, spread out and all that. But it's kind of, you feel comfortable, and the other thing is, do you repeat the, when you're confessing, are you repeating the sin? That's one thing, in the sense that I always try to think, okay, am I going to say the same thing over and over again? But it's, in the sense, your habit of, we're all, creatures of habit. And that's kind of, yeah, but so hopefully you say something different, but hopefully you don't say anything, but that's not going to happen. So
yeah, just go in there like, I don't need to be here.
No, but I think you have to, when you're focusing on going, and are you really mindful of
why you're there?
Well, yeah, why you're there and what it's going to happen when it's over, because it's kind of like when you're hopefully going to the dentist, they're just going to clean your teeth and say, okay, you can go. There's not going to be any cavities, kind of thing.
Then you take up like a shot, and you're like, okay, I'm gone. See you. Bye.
Well, yeah, but but the whole thing with confess, that they'll, the priest is not going to, say anything that is going to basically break you down.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but hopefully you have a confessor, a priest that can, give
is
you
on
wisdom.
the same side.
Well, yeah, but and also will give you wisdom after whatever you're confessing to say, okay, this is some steps, or this is a process, or this is something that I would recommend, pursuing to focus on something else, because that's a lot of, in sense of thought process of confessing, it's usually some kind of procedure or some kind of direction that you need to change when you get out of that confession.
In order to not be back there in a week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, and again, it's a procedure just to get there. It's getting the 7 steps to get there, and then again, how am I going to say this?
Yes.
Right. And I remember a priest saying, like, he was announcing the Advent penitential service. He's like, and we don't want to hear sugar-coated sins. I'm like, sugar-coated sins? What's that? Right? That's where you have a sin and you're like trying to make it sound as good as it possibly can sound.
Yeah. Gotcha.
He's like, it's a sin. It's not going to sound nice. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. You'd be, somewhere else. And I'm thinking, sugar-coated sin. That sounds like it could be like a candy bar or something that had a ton of calories, but now you've kind of wrecked it. Right. Well, doesn't it sound like it could be a candy? Right?
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know what it would be. But it sounds like it could be a something. Yeah, so, right, as hard as it is, right, to get our 7 steps there, it's one of the best things to do, right?
You're great.
To do there. Yeah. Eventually, once you get over the fact, nobody likes going. Granted, there's always a party that doesn't want to go. But you start to kind of look forward to it in a way, because this is the one time out of the chaos and the mess and everything else going around, I can connect on a personal level for, a few minutes, right?
Yep. Totally
because
agree.
he meets you where you are with no strings attached. It's not, I will meet you if you deposit $10 or right? I will meet you if you give me your credit card number and your phone number or right. Nope. There's no strings. It's just, you have to be sorry, right? You have to be sorry and intend not to do it again. But aside from that, yeah, I'm not, there's no strings, no, small print, right? Everything in this, almost everything comes with small print or, terms and conditions may apply, right? So I'm sure growing up as a teenager, you probably didn't have the best view of confession, did you?
Well, I think, yeah, that's part of, growing up and understanding what it was all about. And you that's the funny thing about the youth. Everything that you understand now, or how I understand things now, are totally, completely different when I was a youth. But it's kind of funny to come back and think about the thought process of I almost remember. I'm almost vivid. I remember the first actual confession I did and where I did it and what I said, because it was just kind of like what you were bringing up at the beginning. Like, I pushed my sister. I
remember mine. I remember waking up thinking, is there any way I can get to Saturday and First Communion without having to do this? No? Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, you're so but I think hopefully the youth that are hopefully in the chat room and
we've got quite a few actually. We've got a few.
Yeah, anyone that's not a youth that is listening to, confession is something that hopefully we're preaching to the choir. Hopefully but do we? I think it's one of the hard things to say. Hey, I'm going to, maybe invite someone. A sense of, you always are told, why don't you invite one person? I've heard this a time. Invite someone to mass, like one of your friends or something like that. Maybe invite them. I'm going to confession. Would you like to come? And not.
And once you get past the, no, are you crazy?
Well, yeah, you might get a shun, and basically, if someone will hang up the phone and just like, what are you asking me? I'm gonna.
Can you not be the weird church person? Thanks. Bye. Click.
But that's, and that's a point that I would say, this whole, Fiat Ministry Network hopefully is bringing out, and everybody in the chat room and the other shows. We can't be that shy about our faith. It's one thing to, look like those people that nothing but the faith. That's the thing about you got Tactical Catholic, where there's always a topic that is coming around the faith. So you can do other things. We're not telling you to, but we need
walk around with a poster board sandwich.
I know you don't need, and as nice as T-shirts are out there, and you don't have to plaster yourself but the way you do is how you perceive, how people perceive you and look at the way your actions. You don't want to be the person
that's forcing you down their throats, because then you're completely, it's like math, right? You cancel out the whole evangelization thing because you're basically shoving it down their throats, which is not good evangelization.
Yeah.
Not at all. Very, very bad.
Right.
No.
No, and that's great points.
So we've thought of our two ways. We got mass and confession. We got one more way, don't we?
Yeah.
Then we got a break coming up. So
sure.
Connect with God in one more way. Guess is Kent.
You tell him. I'm looking. Go ahead.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah, I wish I had a. Yeah.
We need to get a drum. We're gonna
I could get that. I can get that sound. Yeah, I can get the audio bite.
Yeah, we're gonna get an in studio drum for when all I do my drum roll. So
yeah.
We've got prayer. Yes, where I cue the confetti, right?
Yes.
Prayer. Yeah.
Prayer.
And people are like, prayer? Okay, this is even worse than the mass. We knew prayer.
Well, we got Captain Canada wrote. We got Rosary. We got Stations of the Cross.
Jason hit it straight on the head, though. Jason said prayer first,
yep.
So congrats to Jason. Jason's on the same wavelength. So, yeah, prayer. Well, again, quick refresher. What is prayer, aside from, what we do before dinner so that we're not rude? Prayer is speaking by lifting our hearts and minds to God. It's a very, very personal way to connect to God, because you're talking one-on-one. When you talk with somebody, whether it's in real life, whether it's on Skype, whether it's, even texting to a very lesser extent, because you don't actually have to, hear people per se. But it's personal, right? It's, you're right in front of me. I can see how it affects you, how what I'm saying affects you, how what you say affects me, right? It's very personal, right? So prayer is having a personal one-on-one conversation with God, right? And as, thanks to Chat Mama Saint Therese said, prayer is a lifting up of the heart to God, right? It's basically just, because God can read our hearts anyway, right? It's not like, you can read everything except this part is locked, and no, you don't get to see that. Good luck trying to do that. Or I'll tell you everything except that.
Well, and that's kind of, when you're a kid, it's kind of funny, on just with being a father and listening to a 40-year-old and a 2-year-old. Prayers are I want to pray for my stuffed animal, that, and okay, we have to explain that to her.
Pray for my hat.
Yeah, well, and then you get I think the youth are, a lot of times praying on that test that they have to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. Pray for the test, or pray for that. I pray that guy really likes me too.
Yes. No, but I think that's you got.
I think those are the two things youth pray for, really. Or yeah, I hope I do well in the test. I hope he likes me as much as I like him. Or oh, please don't let us break up. Right.
Yeah. Well,
right. I think that's that's about the size of it.
Well, do you think that the youth just they understand prayer, but they just that's their kind of only thing that they're really thinking about, or is it something that it's just kind of when because I would even think that the youth have to think that where they're at in their life, even though that they are still trying to grow and understand, but that kind of understand.
I think some youth know what prayer is. Others don't really. It's you really have to drive home the fact that prayer is a conversation with God. It's talking to God.
Yes.
Right, because some people grow up with the just Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. That that's not a conversation. Yeah. It's a monologue, and as much as you don't want to be praying it, if it was if the roles were reversed, you probably wouldn't want to be listening to. It'd be like Charlie Brown, right? With when the teachers talk, Our Father who art in heaven, am I done yet? Right?
Yeah, gotcha.
And I think it's also like you mentioned, where they're at is, do they realize that because it's a conversation, they can think of other things that are in their life that might be pertainable, right? Aside from, I need this test, or I need, this, right? I need this GPA to be able to get into so-and-so university, right? And as Jason's pointing out, right, youth understand prayer. It's just they don't know how to live it out, right? Sometimes people, okay, how do I pray?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how. How do I pray? Right. So I wrote a good post over on my website, CatholicSis.com, where I write about everything under the sun. So I did a post about, I believe it was called "Why Bother with Prayer Anyway?" There it is. I'm going to be tweeting the link out after the show so that you guys can all go and look at it and tell me what you think. If you go and look at it, comment below and tell me what your favorite type of prayer is. You can comment on the site. And I basically did a post of 8 or 9 different ways you could find God in prayer, right? Whether it's in music, in adoration, in the rosary, in generic prayers like the Our Father, Hail Mary, the ones that we grew up with, or whether it's just having a one-on-one conversation, right? Because you can pray through a ton of different things. And actually, we had a question last week that came in on the chat room of whether or not novenas were actually effective, right? Are novenas worth praying? Do they work?
Yeah.
And I am a 100% witness that yes, they do work. If they are prayed in earnest and what you're asking for matches up with what God has planned for you, yes, they are effective. 100%. In the blog post that I had you bring up, it actually has a link to the Storm Novena, which if you are not familiar with the Storm Novena, oh my goodness, as soon as the show is done, go look it up. It's a bit of a time consuming novena. It's a 9-hour novena. Once an hour, you come and you basically storm heaven for your case, right? And it is like the no fail Catholic prayer. It's one of those, if you pray it in the, usual conditions, you're free from mortal sin. And again, if what you're praying for aligns with what God has in mind for you, then it will come, right? We've prayed them in our family before, and I'm like, wow,
yeah.
It's like 12 hours later, there's the answer. Okay, well, right. So people tell me, no fail. That's great, right? You Catholics and your superstitions, right? I'm like, no, I actually pray this. Come back to me in, a day and tell me what happened. They're like, oh, wow. This is kind of scary. So I am, yeah, I'm a complete supporter of the novenas. I was like,
Okay.
what do you mean novenas don't work? Of course they work. So again, go check out the post on CatholicSis.com after the show and let me know what your favorite way is. So I have to ask you, Kent, what's your favorite way to pray?
For right now, I love just going and sitting with the girls and just praying with them. I think family prayer is kind of, in a sense, kind of. I mean, the culture now is like everything is so fast, but to be able to sit down and to just sit with them and my wife, I think family prayer is my kind of, okay, I'm getting something out of it, and then also, Jason, any way of taking a retreat and taking some time away from everything else and just praying. I know.
Oh yeah, retreats are wonderful.
I know. There's silent retreats, and
I couldn't do a silent retreat if I tried.
It's just like I'm tempted to do one, and I know people that have done them, and it's just it is tough. You just thinking about how do you be silent for that, but maybe you'll listen a little bit more. I mean, he might, Jesus might really speak to you without anything. Even if I can, turn off the heater or the air conditioner and everything in my house, it's still not silent enough.
It's not 100% silent, which is why I don't do the. I don't do very well in silence. I'm the complete opposite. I pray through music.
Okay.
So I've got, earbuds plugged in and I got noise blaring, right?
Well, if I was going to pick another way is praying in the car. I love to have something, I'm fond of EWTN and listening and just kind of going through, I'm holding on to the car. You have the 10 fingers, so do a rosary during during the car ride, especially with an hour long car ride home.
I think that's great. My other one would be Eucharistic adoration. Right? I don't get the time to do it too often, but when I do, I'm like, this is great. So
yeah,
so we've really nailed it down, haven't we?
Yeah, Yep.
So we're up for I think we're up for a commercial break.
Yeah, I'm gonna we'll do a commercial. I'm gonna pop over for a second and just let everybody know that we got a couple things going on with with the Fiat Ministry Network. We'll be popping them up in the next couple of weeks with a couple sponsors. If anyone is interested in, sponsoring a show, any kind of saying you really want to support us and we can support you as a partnership, please let us know. That's definitely, we'll have a page on the website to kind of introduce you to what shows are out there. We got a nice lineup of shows, but I just want to let everybody know, please, support us through the Amazon link that we have. There's a donation button right on the top of the page. Just any way to support us, because it does cost money to do this. It's one of those things that we love doing this, but it does cost. And if you like what we're doing, that shows. And prayer is number one. Any comments, anything negative or bad, or good, I take either one. And so please, if we can take any kind of support in financial or prayer is great. We really appreciate it. And I'm going to shut up and do a commercial, and we'll be right back.
Any study of Catholicism must start with the Catechism of the Catholic Church. It's a beautifully crafted summary of the faith, pulling together thousands of references from throughout Scripture and tradition. But what if the summary connected you to its sources and became a gateway into the faith? In the Verbum edition of the Catechism, the references come alive. Journey from the Catechism to Vatican II, the Church Fathers, and to the Scripture itself. Discover the foundations for doctrines like baptism or the Eucharist, and let it be your companion to the daily readings from Mass. Capture your insights with notes and highlights, and Verbum syncs them across your computers and mobile devices. Verbum is a dynamic library system. You can start with the basic catechism collection, or choose a larger library with hundreds of books and amazing study tools. Allow the Catechism to transform your study of the faith. Visit verbum.com/catechism and get yours today.
And we're back. So I have to wave. We got to wave. We
Hello.
forgot our wave in the beginning.
Thank you for staying around.
We had to do our wave because
Yes.
we forgot it in the beginning, and that's just not us. We had to wait. Jeez.
Yes.
So last week I gave you guys a sneak peek into a week in the life of Catholic Sis, and there was such a great response that I decided, what the heck? I'll give you guys a few more pictures. So I have a few more pictures that I took to show you what I've been up to, crazy Catholic Sis, in the last week.
Mm-hmm.
So gonna have Kent pop up the first one for us, and see, where are we here? Yes, we got that one. That's a picture I really liked. Sorry, so that wasn't a snapshot per se. That was, I went to Mass and we had a really good homily. It was a good homily, right? Father was talking about we were talking about how important Mass is, right? So kind of linked in with what we were talking about. So I thought that was good. Did you guys have any good homilies over in Ohio this week?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think they're, yeah, I guess, yeah. But I mean, it's kind of interesting to every week where the homilies are going. I think you get something different from, especially when the deacons are doing the homilies and
a different point of view.
I think the point of views and just how they're doing it, it's just it's interesting to hear everything how everybody approaches because I'm like my brother-in-law's in seminary, and
that's great.
I'm kind of curious how he's going to do a homily. I haven't heard him do a homily, and I'm kind of curious how, because I don't know if they're trained differently now. And that's the thing. How do you keep attention? Some people say, okay, you got to do it in 8 minutes or people are going to fall asleep kind of thing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah, I think it can. You get some priests that really like to talk, and some priests that are in and out. You're like, that was a fast homily. Wow.
I don't think it's everybody's different, and you can't criticize that. I mean, at the beginning, I know when I was younger, I would, this guy, this priest, oh man, this is going to be forever.
Is he done yet?
I mean, we're going to miss, the beginning of the football game and all that, But anyways, moving on.
Football game. Oh my God! See, I'm not football. I'm hockey. And so, actually, for me, by the time the game was done, it was usually I could get home and have like a half an hour, and then the hockey game would start. So I'm like, or I go to church in the morning, and hockey's not going to be for 7 hours. So I'm so lucky. I really like hockey, but that's what happens to us Canadians. We all just turn into hockey-loving people, right? So I'll have you pop up our second image here, and that actually kind of goes with Actually, that's not the image I'm thinking of.
Oh,
That goes with our confession schmeal a bit earlier.
Okay.
So I think we had a few more pictures up there somewhere. There we go. So I know it's blurry. It's supposed to be blurry on purpose.
Okay.
I am outdoorsy. So last weekend I spent the weekend. I went down to one of our parks up by us and went around, did some exploring. I took a picture, or rather, sorry, I had my sister take the picture because I can't bilocate. I haven't gotten that down pat yet. But it made me think of, sometimes it's hard to keep your balance and follow Christ in the world. Sometimes it's a bit slippery, right? Because the world's threatening to pull you off. And then I got home and looked at the picture and thought, it's blurry.
Yes.
It's very blurry. So then it made me think of, well, we're going to completely change the topic around and say, well, it's kind of like when we try to maneuver through life without God, and it's very blurry and murky sometimes. So without God, it's very blurry. We need God for the clarity.
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then got another picture up there. Oh, it's me, lovely Catholic sis. So while I was down at the park, I thought I'd go sit on the swings because I was thinking sometimes it's nice to just take a break from the chaos and to enjoy the present, even if that means sitting on the swings.
Yes.
Not falling off and smacking my head because that would not be fun. Nobody wants to see that. But because I was down at one of our school parks, right? It's got a playground attached to it, right? So I took my sister down, and then it's got this kind of like wooded area sort of thing. It's got like, this open stuff with a whole bunch of fallen trees. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was fun. So I sat on the swing after my log climbing expedition I had.
Nice.
Which leads me into that one. I just had a ball at the park. I was having fun. I was enjoying nature.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
And then I noticed this stump is huge.
Yeah.
Right, so I put my hand in comparison. I'm like, wow.
That is huge.
This is huge. Right, the tree next to it was the one I was climbing on. So.
Did you count how many rings?
No, I didn't, because it was the top was actually burnt. Right?
Oh,
so
you couldn't.
I couldn't count the rings, but otherwise I'd still be counting 1, 2, 3.
Here's the next.
So it makes me look very, very small.
Yes.
Which will bring us into. On the opposite of the small spectrum was me cooking a lot this week.
Nice.
I was tweeting about this on Monday. I spent the whole day cooking with my grandma and a good friend of ours to be the woman from Proverbs 31, cooking for family and all that. So I was making cabbage rolls and meat pie.
Wow.
Meat pie dumpling kind of things.
Nice.
And it was a ton. There was a lot of cabbage in the house. I was like, okay, I'm getting kind of tired of the smell of cabbage. Like, okay, so we finally finished off the cabbage and stuff yesterday. So I'm like, okay, the cabbage is now done. I'm good for another year.
Yes.
So I had it on my Facebook, and some people were like, what is that? I'm like, it's a cabbage roll. And they're like, yeah, we'll just drink the milk, thanks. The milk looks really good. And so does that bread. Well, the bread has cabbage in it too, but that's beside the point.
Nice.
So I like being the Proverbs 31 woman, right? Cooking for her family. I'm not so good on the keeping the clean thing. My bedroom kind of testifies to that. If I could get keeping it clean down, I'd be good.
Yes.
And when I'm not cooking, I'm usually reading something, which a lot of people ask me, what are you reading, Catholic Sis? So I decided to take a picture and show everybody. I thought, well, I'll just take a picture and show you. So, actually, I do have one more link I'm going to tweet out after the show. I got a page up that shows what I have and has the Amazon link, so you can buy the books and, help out little Catholic sis here, right? So, I am reading, starting from the top down, I'm reading Tweet Inspiration by Mark Hart. Really cute book, all in 140 characters or less. Super cute. I'm reading I Kissed Dating Goodbye by Joshua Harris, which has been an interesting book. People talked about it like I saw it, actually picked it up for like $1 in one of our thrift stores. So I was like, okay, I'm buying this. Then I have just for my fun reading, I'm reading Matched by Ali Condi for the second time because it was really fun. So I finally got it and now it's mine, so I can go and read it all over.
Nice.
And then, as Jason's pointing out, I do have Ken Yazinski's book, The Fullness of Purpose. I'm trying to read it. It's a work in progress, and under that is Arlene Spenceley's book, Chastity is for Lovers, who, big little secret, she may or may not be coming on the show in the next month or so. Nice. We might have a guest visiting Catholic Sis on the show, which could be very, very interesting. You did not hear that secret news.
You gotta tease a little bit.
I do have to tease a little bit. And then my last book, it was actually our parish, it was their Easter present to all the parishioners, Rediscovered Catholicism by Matthew Kelly.
Yes.
And I've been trying to get the book for a while, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, we get a copy, yay! So I kind of stole it. The family hasn't seen it since Easter Vigil night. It's been sitting on my nightstand, so...
Good book.
Sorry.
Good book.
I took it. I stole the book.
Yes.
And, which, in the vein of what am I reading, that brings me to my two or three questions I got in this week. One of them was, is Pope Francis coming to visit BC? And I don't know. I did hear say on a couple news sources that somebody invited him to go to Vancouver. I don't know how good that's going to pan out. I really don't.
Okay.
And then we got a really interesting question this week, and it was, if your life was a movie, what song would you be playing in your life scenes right now? And I thought, ooh, I like that. My life is a movie. Would it be a best-selling? Would it win a Grammy? Would it win an Oscar? I don't know. So I'd have to say the song that would describe the scene I'm in right now would be More of You by Colton Dixon, because it reminds me that, everything I do, every person I see is for God, and it furthers his kingdom here on earth. Right? So nothing I do is really mine. Nothing I have is really mine. Everything. Everything can be taken away in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Or everything can be given in the blink of an eye.
All right.
So I'll have that YouTube video up a bit later if anybody wants to check that out.
Okay.
And if you check it out, let me know.
Yeah.
If you decide to listen to it, Ken, let me know what you think.
I
don't know if you might have heard it. You'd be like, oh, I know this song. We hear this one all the time.
Yeah, I have to catch up on music. That's one thing that I used to listen to a lot of Christian and but as a I don't know what I would pick. That's a great question.
I was just supposed to say, what would you pick, Ken?
I don't know. I'm not sure right offhand. I don't. I mean, it's just there's so many. The one thing I think my wife, we just saw the Gone with the Wind. It was 50-year anniversary of Gone with the Wind, and just like she loves that movie, and she loves. I mean, there's so many. And then it's just one of those musicals that just really tugs at her. And so I think watching that is, but it's just like one of those things that I think about how they went through and just like they wanted to have a better life. And you don't think about that nowadays, that you're free. You don't have to worry about where you're dodging to get away, and so I think I know where my wife would go with pick out something musical, one of the musicals. So I think
I like that. I think that's great. I love the action that's going on in the chat room. We have people taking Star Wars as their life movie, or The Lion King as their theme song. I love it.
Circle, there's
Circle of Life. I love that. I think that's great.
For my kids, it would be Let It Go. I could just let it go. In a sense, I'll just okay, let it go.
Yeah, okay, Kent's adapting Let It Go as his life theme song right now. Alrighty. That would have been my theme song last year. I've heard that song so many times. I can sing it with my eyes closed, sleeping
wait until
in
you
the
have,
shower.
yeah.
Right?
Just wait
Ken's
until,
probably the same, right?
oh, kids. Oh.
2 girls too, right?
And you're going to Disney World, so I'm gonna be hearing it. But hey,
all
Disney
the
World.
way to Disney World.
So.
Gee, Dad, maybe we might get to see Elsa, and we'll start singing. So I love it.
It'll
love
be
it,
fun.
love it, love it.
So, anyways.
Which leads me to my last question of the night. What is the holiest moment for you, Catholic Sis? Well, I'm going to have a note that I'm anything but holy. So I've reinterpreted this question. I've rewritten it, reinterpreted to mean the moment when you felt the holiest.
Oh, okay.
Never mind when you were the holiest. Try when you thought you were the holiest. Just not too holy, otherwise we'll be back to the confessional. Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned because I was prideful and thought I was holy.
Yes. Right.
So the answer I would have to give was at a weekend retreat I went to, which was when I first felt called to youth ministry. And I went to, and it was one of those, I went to the retreat. I'm like, oh, I got to go to retreat. The speaker's going to be boring. Hey, but there's horses there. And my friend's going, so I guess I'll go.
Uh-huh.
And then got clunked over the head in mass and confession. I'm like, okay, all right, this is interesting. This is like one of those experiences you read about in a book where somebody says, I went to confession and was just, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to adoration, and it was one of those that, you could have pushed me over with a feather and it would have been like right over.
Uh-huh.
So that was the moment where I felt the holiest. Like, oh, I'm going to go out and we got a diocesan conference coming up next month, May. I am so excited. My bags are packed already. Catholic Sis is going, and the theme is set the world on fire. Right, so I came out that retreat like I'm setting the world on fire. I'm fantastic.
Awesome.
Not too prideful though. So, and actually, if you want to read the rest of that story, I did write a post on it. It's called "A Once in a Lifetime Weekend," brought to you by God. And I put it up on Catholic Sis a few months ago. So if you want to go out and check that out, and let me know if you ever had a similar experience. Religious, one of those religious type experiences. Right.
Well, I think one thing, a retreat that I went on, but I think for me now, as a little bit older, just being, my wedding day, I think that's kind of in the sense of, if I was gonna pick any day to feel somewhat as holy as you could, because I told my wife and I went to confession beforehand, a couple days beforehand. We kind of really focused on that day because it was a very special day. And so, I think for youth it would be probably something different. But, when you eventually do get married, I think it's kind of if you really focus on that day, that it's your and your wife's day, and you're
Yeah,
clean,
I think that's great.
So, anyways, that's what I would probably say.
That's so cute.
So, anyways, moving on. I love my wife.
I think that's cute. I think that's just absolutely adorable. Cute.
But anyways.
So, we're just about down to the end of the hour. So thanks to everyone who was joining us tonight, watching us at home, talking in the chat room. Great to hear from all of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to everyone who submitted questions. Don't forget, you can submit them all week long on Twitter. You can use the hashtag AskCatholicSis. Also, if there's anything you want me to write a post about, let me know, and I'll talk about it on the show as well.
Great.
You can go to CatholicSis.com, send me an email, leave a comment, let me know what you're interested in seeing, what you like seeing, what you want to see more of. Let me know what you think of the show. And we hope to see y'all next week again. Right back here. Yep. Me and Kent, we like to wave to people.
Yes.
So thanks to everyone tonight. Before I leave you, going to pop up my prayer of Catholic Sis written by me. And if you'll join me at home and here, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, help me to always stay close to you and do your will in every circumstance. Remind me that my beautiful Catholic faith is something to be treasured, not something to ever hide. Guide me to live out every day in your name, and every time I come in contact with you, anytime I come in contact with someone, may I see your face in them, and remember that the least I do to one of these brothers or sisters, I do to you. In your most precious name I pray. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So don't forget my favorite Bible verse, everybody. By now you should be like, some with a 2? 2 Timothy 4:2. Proclaim the word, be persistent, whether it's convenient or inconvenient. Convince, reprimand, encourage through all patience and teaching. That pretty much sums me up in a verse. So until next time, keep talking faith. And remember, Catholic isn't something we are just once a week. It's a way of life. Have a great week, and God bless.
God bless.